Are you thinking of buying a home in the near future? Well, here is 5 steps you need to know before buying a home. So I'm a licensed real estate agent in Colorado and Texas, and I've been doing real estate since 2008. So I've had the opportunity to work with a ton of first-time home buyers as well as experienced buyers. And I know when you're just getting started, it's a little overwhelming, and you get told a lot of conflicting different information depending on who you talk to. So if you ask your friend one thing versus your parents or somebody else, you'll get 3 different answers. So I kind of wanted to set a baseline for some of the basics that you need to know when you're going into this home search venture. So let's start out with step number 1. Step number 1 is picking the right team. If you don't have an experienced team who's looking out in your best interest, you are going to really epically fail in this home hunt, and it could screw you for a long time to come because you're getting into the home with hopes to stay probably 5-10 years. And if you end up getting a bad deal, you could end up getting locked into a house for much longer if you don't negotiate a good deal, or end up in a home that needs a ton of work. It can haunt you for years and years to come. So you really want to vet the team that you're going to work with. And I know the question is, well, how do I know how experienced or not experienced this person is? Well, they should have a good online presence. You should be able to go type their name in, look at their Zillow profile, look at their Google business profile. Any established agent who does this seriously should have a really good online presence. If you can't find them, that should be red flag number 1. If they do this full time and they're active, they should be very easily found. I have Zillow profiles, Google profiles, Yelp profiles everywhere that you can vet me and see that I've worked with people and it's turned out to be successful. Without that, you don't know. You're just blindly going into this, not knowing if this person's horrible or not. And in real estate, they're going to have you sign a commitment. So you might be locked in with this agent for a very long time when you could have avoided that just by doing some basic research. So picking your team is huge, both on the mortgage side and the real estate side. The second step that's really important is getting pre-qualified. There's many reasons for that. One is I get a lot of people, and I'm licensed to do mortgages too, so I see a lot of people that look on Credit Karma and certain apps that will show you your credit score. And almost 0% of the time does that Credit Karma and those apps accurately reflect your true FICO score. So you want to get your actual FICO score. You want to know where you're at and make sure that everything is good to begin that house hunt. You don't want any surprises where you're ready to buy and then you find out you need some credit repair or there's something in your credit report that you weren't aware of that's haunting you. The second reason for that is I get a ton of people that have a different expectation for what the price of the house is versus what their payment's going to be. So for example, I'll get somebody that says, hey, I'm looking in the 500s. We want to buy, 550. And I'll ask them, well, what do you envision? What are you're comfortable with as far as your payment? And they'll say something like $1,800 a month. Well, $1,800 wouldn't even cover your principal and interest, let alone your taxes, insurance, everything that goes into a mortgage payment. So by getting pre-qualified and working with a decent lender, they're going to give you some realistic expectations of what your house payment is going to be based on the price. Now, it can't be pinpoint accurate because every house is located in a different area. So your property taxes vary. So you might buy a house with low property taxes for $500,000 and your payment will be lower. But if you pay $500,000 in a different area, your mortgage is going to be much higher if it's a high property tax area or if it's in a flood area, things that will affect your property taxes and your insurance. But you can at least get a close baseline. You could run a few houses that you're interested in by your mortgage broker and they can run payments. So you have a realistic expectation of what 500 or whatever that target price is you're looking at. Nothing is worse than getting your hopes up for a home that you see, you're all excited about these homes in the 500 to find out it's a payment that you don't want. So that is a very important step. Often people get that reversed and they start looking at the homes and push the mortgage portion to the side. I highly recommend you do that in the opposite. Get the financial part situated first. So one of the other things that I highly recommend, so the housing pictures and the housing marketing is a lot like the dating apps. So they're going to show the the best photos, the best things that you're going to want to see when you're sitting there searching online, but they don't tell the whole picture of the neighborhood. So if you guys are looking on Zillow or Redfin or wherever you're looking at online for homes, and you've narrowed down a few different areas, I highly recommend before you even go house hunting that you drive those areas and really get a good look at the neighborhood. You might see a house that's gorgeous, that you love, that you fell in love with online, and you might go into that neighborhood and realize, ooh, I don't want to live here. It's really torn down. There's a lot of crime, things like that. It's also not a bad idea, and your real estate agent should be helping you with this too, but it's not a bad idea to check into the school system, see how the school systems are. If you don't have kids and it's not a concern, at least check the crime statistics. Find out what kind of crimes are happening. Are they property crimes? Is it relatively safe? Things like that. Your quality of life is equally important to just how pretty the house is, probably more. So you don't want just a pretty, sparkling, nice house in a really bad area where you feel unsafe every day. So research is really key. One of the other things I see newer buyers get sucked into is if you're working with an agent who tends to be on the lazier side, they try to push you for the first couple houses you see. I think when you are shopping for a new house, you want as much exposure as possible. I like to get, 10 showings in a day where we just go through a lot. And a lot of that process is elimination. So we'll walk through a lot of them that you absolutely don't like, which is fine. You got to know what you don't like to appreciate more what you do like. So we'll go through 8 to 10 houses a day, and we'll do that for weeks if that's what it takes to get a full exposure to the market. Remember, you are the one buying this house. You are the one that has to stay there. So if you're worried about the agent and taking up their time, they're compensated for this. We get paid very decently for showing houses. So if it takes weeks or even a couple months to find your perfect house, take the time to do that. You don't want to get pressured into a wrong decision, especially on something as big as a house. So one of the final steps that I really can't emphasize enough is make sure whatever house you get into that you guys sit down and go over your budget and make sure you're not going to be house poor. Most people who are buying a house for the first time are a little bit on the younger side. At least they want to still continue to live life, travel, and do things. The last thing you want is to be stressed every month just to make your house payment. So whatever that activity is you do, whether it's traveling, going out every weekend to the movies, whatever your enjoyment is in life, you don't want to cut those out just to barely be able to make a house payment. So it's hugely important that you don't get talked into something that's too expensive for you, because I can tell you on the mortgage side, I can qualify you for whatever that amount is, but that doesn't mean that you should go to that amount. If you're not comfortable with that amount, it doesn't matter what I qualify you for. If I qualify you for $600,000, but that's going to leave you the ability to not be able to vacation or enjoy life, then it doesn't matter that I qualified you for that. You shouldn't spend that. So hopefully these first few steps help. I'm going to come out with more videos helping you along. There's so much when you're buying a first home that goes into play that's so complicated and hard to navigate. Then you've got the down payment assistance programs and all kinds of things. So it's important, again, to get with professionals who can guide you through all your options. You should be getting as many options as possible and not just pigeonholed into one thing. There's so many options out there on the table, and then you pick what's best for you and your family. As always, if you have questions, feel free to reach out. I'd love to answer any questions you have. Thanks.